We are live. What is up? Carolyn J Carpenter here with Hollywood Gatekeepers. We have a very special day today. I just love days like this because I get to brag. I get to brag about our screen readers. Is one of my favorite things to do on this planet, in this world. So we are at Hollywood Gatekeepers. We train people how to be expert readers for the film industry. There are people out there that read screenplays, and then we write kind of like a book report known as coverage. And in that coverage, we say, what is this script about? And then what works about that script and what needs work about that script. And that's what a reader does. It's pretty straight ahead. So we do this for many different types of people, mostly for producers that are looking for projects, right? So they want to know, is the script ready for production? And so they're too busy to read it because they have all these submissions. So they get readers to come in, and readers will tell them if the script is ready to go. That is primarily who, readers read screenplays. Those are primarily the people that ask for readers. We also do it for writers. So if you're a writer out there and you want to get your script ready to submit to producers or contests or lawyers or agents or managers, all of that, give it to a reader, let them read it, let them write a coverage. They'll give you that coverage, and you can use that coverage. You'll get feedback on it, and you'll be able to fix your screenplay so it's ready to go when you do submit it. One of the other main places where readers read screenplays is for competitions. That's a big part of being a reader. It's a really big part, especially when you're first starting out, to kind of get your sea legs, to figure out what kind of genres you like, to figure out what kind of screenplays, to figure out how fast you read, to kind of get your career going. So we have at Hollywood Gatekeepers, we have what we call the Screenreader pipeline. And what that is a directory of our graduates. And we take our graduates and we put them in the pipeline, and then we share that with different festivals, producers, writing coaches, all kinds of people, so that they have a directory of people that they know that have gone through our course, and they know these people are going to write really good coverage. So we've been doing that, and we are really expanding that. And so today we're going to talk about all of this in one, because as our readers graduate, they are doing all kinds of different things. So I just described many scenarios of how you can be a reader. Well, we have our readers that are going off and doing all those different things. And today I have two spectacular guests that are screenreaders in our program, that met in our program, and are now heading up the writing competition for the Glendale International Film Festival. So without further ado, I'm going to bring these gentlemen on with me. We have Will Ahrens and James Hall. Say hello.
Hey, Carolyn.
How are we? So first of all, tell us how you, so let's start with you, Will. How did you find the program? Your story is a little bit different than other people. But how did you find the program? And then tell me how you found it. And then tell me what was your biggest surprise about the program once you joined? So
I found it through you because, of course, we did theater together with Theater Neo.
Yes.
And then you sent this out when you were first starting off. And first I kind of ignored it, but then eventually I thought, well, I've done this before. So let's see, if I can get an actual training, because I did it before without any real training, coming right out of college and, interning and doing it for a couple of companies. What I wouldn't know if it's a surprise, but it was a different way you looked at it, because of course I wrote for Picture Maker, I read for Picture Maker and Sanford Pillsbury, and they had completely different ways of doing it. One was on a 3x5 card, one was more like yours, but of course these are producers, and it's pass, consider, or fail was kind of, that was what you were looking at, and it was mostly fail. But the idea of writing or coverage for writers to take and use it to improve their work, as opposed to for producers to tell them what their decision will be. That was kind of the interesting perspective. And that's kind of what I enjoyed about that. And now how it helps with what I'm doing now with Glendale International Film Festival is that's what we're looking at. We're reading for readers. Yes, for the competition, but also for the readers.
You mean the writers?
Writers, I'm sorry.
Yes, good. And the readers. So that is.
Your readers are writers too.
They are, for sure. If you're a reader, you're a writer. I say that all the time. So, but it is definitely a take, because I think a lot of writers don't realize how having a reader take a look at their screenplay makes a huge difference if they're trying to get that screenplay out there. So getting the, and then connecting, because some readers too would prefer to work with writers and kind of get in the trenches with them and get their screenplay, as opposed to kind of the fast pace working with producers saying, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So being able to show people that you can do either one and kind of which path to take is kind of what we're about, is figuring that out. I love that. Yeah. And Will and I go way back. way back in the theater world. So it's really fun to have a new chapter of all the things that we've done together. Yeah. And then Mr. James, tell, how did you find the program and what's your story?
My story, during pandemic, I was in charge of our church youth program, but we couldn't do anything because everything was shut down. Right. A friend of mine came and said, hey, we've got all this extra money. Let's make a movie. And I said, okay, let's grab your iPhone and go. He goes, no, let's make a real movie. So he and I sat down and we wrote our first script. He's written a couple. And we went and shot with real cameras and real lights and sound and production value. And we made a little short film with our church youth group, and it got me hooked. So I've always loved movies. And I started thinking, okay, I may not be the next Cecil B. DeMille or Quentin Tarantino, but I can get involved somehow. And I started looking around for training courses about screenwriting. And then I came across the screen reading program. And I thought, well, that's a good way to start, hone my skills. Because unlike Will and you, I have no formal theater training background. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a project manager. So I know how to get things done. And I found that during the movie process, I thought that was a kick. So I thought, all right, I've got to learn more. Yeah. I found your course. And it coincided with, euphemistically, I'll call a gap in employment. And I had some time on my hands. And so I started studying and found it quite fascinating, the process, right? I'm a process guy at work. So writing is a mystery to many people because we're not sure how it gets done. We just think people kick out fully formed scripts at the end, during a screen montage and suddenly a script pops out. So I like learning about the process of writing and the process of critiquing a film before it ever gets made, or a script. And the surprise to me was how much, I don't want to say formality, but how much structure there can be behind a good review program or a good writing program, because there is discipline and work and editing and all this great stuff. And the feedback that I found during this process with my short was undeniably helpful. And out of that came a small writing group. Yeah. And we would critique each other's stuff as friends over pizza or whatever we got that week. And I wanted to formalize that, and this course got me there. And I just recently finished, just got to wrap up the paperwork to be an official graduate, and hope to offer that service for others soon.
That's a great one. That's a good one. I love all the things that you guys are doing and forming anything that's forming groups and community. I'm all for, because it's such a solitary thing. So being able to, help each other. And I love, and definitely, it's so funny as some people come through the course. Like I knew Will ahead of time. So when he came in, I was always like, look, Will's here. It was always like fun because I already knew Will. But when you came in, you were, there's some people that come into the program and we notice them because you came in and you were so present every time you would show up, and you always had interesting things to say. And then your project managerism came out right away, and it was like you would be organized, like naturally organizing everything. So Will came in and did he got this thing of wanting to work with the Glendale International Film Festival, but had no idea what do I do? And I'm like, this is perfect. Let's just figure this out together as part of the class and let everybody see the process. And then watching you, and that was just such serendipity that there's James, project manager. Yep. Couldn't help himself.
James was a godsend.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
And that was really good for me because I got a real practical view of the work behind the festival. Yeah. And of course, for Glendale, we focused on the screenwriting competition. But there's also the whole film festival itself. And so it's a great way to learn how the industry works and how a festival gets puts into the theater, how it gets all the way to the end.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was really cool because we kind of just opened it up to class. Okay, Will's going to create this. Let's everybody chime in. What is he going to need? And we sort of reversed engineered, what do you go through when you enter a contest and what should it be? And then everybody was kind of throwing ideas out. It was really fun. But it also showed that that's true with anything that you want to create. You just go okay, what are we going to need? And let's reverse engineer and put things together. And then you guys just were immediately off and running. So much fun. And I think you have several people reading, don't you? Or do you have people who are reading from the course that are readers for you? I think Renee.
So currently we have a couple of graduates, a couple of students who are reading for us right now. And a couple of them came into the program last year. So we have a couple of repeats. Renee and Rebecca, and then we've added a couple other, John, and I need to bring my list up. I'm not all completely through the program, but it's been very helpful to have them hit the ground running because they know what to do.
Yeah, they already know what to do, and then it helps them build a resume and like learn about it. What do you guys look for in your readers? Either one of you can answer that, huh?
For me, what I'm finding is people who have their own perspective on a movie or on a script, I should say, who can look at it beyond their personal preference. Because one of the things we counsel both in your class and then I'm taking that idea and bringing it to Glendale is it's not what's my personal reaction. Maybe I don't like horror, so I can't dismiss a script because I don't like horror.
Right.
But is it a good horror film? Is it scary? Does it have a good ending? And if they can separate their personal opinions from their own critique, that gives it a little bit more credibility, I think I'd say. So I look for that in their writing, and I counsel people a little bit on how they can improve those reviews. Somebody's got to like to read a lot because we give them a bunch of stuff to read. And it's a fairly short period. So I just sent out like 3 more scripts last night, and each script gets read 3 times. So there's a lot of reading to do. And you've got
not as much as Austin.
Yes, Austin is
not as much as Austin.
Austin's that's the Mount Everest of reading.
That's what you're aspiring to, is Austin. A lot of our readers read for Austin as well, too.
I'm technically reading for Austin, but I had to cut back the number I commit to each week because I'm in the middle of all this other stuff. But and you have to like enjoy writing. But so I look for that unique voice, a unique ability to find something good about each script, something that needs to be able to work on, constructive feedback, and the temperament to share it without being judgmental. It's just, hey, this works or this doesn't work, whether I like the genre or not. And here's 2 or 3 things you can work on, and here's 2 or 3 things I really like. And that's what I'm kind of looking for.
Awesome. We talk a lot about that we don't even like, when we train about how to do coverage, you're not even allowed to say I. We really want people like to not, there's no snark, none of that. Like you're just giving like really, it's all about the story, has nothing to do with you or anything with you. And so I love that you're doing that. What about you, Will?
To piggyback on what he said is, I also think that's where in the structure of the breakdown is where, like you said, I'm not a horror fan either. But if you can use the things, how is the dialogue? What is the concept? Is it original? The dialogue, the structure. If you can break it down to its components and go, those are really good components. I may not love the film personally, like I'm not going to go watch it, but I can judge it objectively to see if it's something of value.
Yeah, really good.
So that's a good thing to learn for anybody, especially not just readers. And then if you're going to write, you can know that that's how people are looking at yours, and you can, when reading it, even though you still would like to, you want readers and people to give you their opinions, you can look at yours and try to be as objective as possible.
It's so invaluable as a writer to learn the skills of being a reader, for sure. It's really a kind of a no-brainer, right? So
I'd like to throw in one other idea that I noticed a lot more this year than last year is, regardless of the genre, a lot of scripts, many of this year's scripts are very political, whether it's overt or not. So you have to be able to read a script that comes from a different political or social perspective and say, okay, I don't agree with their premise, but this is a really good story. A friend of mine wrote a great script that we would argue over if we were just sitting down for lunch about the actions of the character, but it was a really great script, and she just got picked up for a festival. But
nice.
That's another way to separate yourself, not only from personal preference, but from opinion, and say, regardless of whether I agree, is it a compelling story? Is it a good ending? And do you cheer for the good guy, and are you mad at the villain, right? So that's another way to be objective, which I've noticed in many scripts.
Yeah, for sure, that you can know what your biases are. And if the script does poke your buttons and like rouse you up, then that means it's probably written pretty well.
There's some.
So it's like being able to recognize that.
Good sign. Yeah,
for sure. So tell us a little bit about what you do at the festival, Will. What is your role there?
Last year, I kind of took it over. within the screenplay, the people who are running the festival now is Glendale Arts Corporation, nonprofit, who have took it over a few years ago. The festival's been running this will be their 10th year. And there was a woman who was running it who is passed on. So Glendale Arts took it over. And in the first year, a couple of years ago, they were kind of trying to figure it out because the woman passed in the middle of this selection process.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of came in late.
Yeah.
I had submitted a screenplay, which got in. I made a finalist, didn't win, but I got to meet not only some of the other writers, I actually did meet the winner and other writers, but I started really talking with the ladies who run it, Maria and Nina. And we became very friendly. And when they told me the background story, I said, well, I think I know how I can help with the screenplay competition because using you and the screenwriters. I go, that may help because I don't even know what their process was. I just know that they got shoved in the middle of this, and I don't think they had to read them all. That would be really tough. So I said, I can help with that. And so that's where they let me handle this last year. It was the first year we figured it out. And of course, to get a project manager was wonderful.
Right.
I kind of oversaw it, which is more what James is doing this year. So I can just be the juror. When the readers determine the finalists, I and other jurors will read those to pick the winner.
Gotcha. Got you. So that's fantastic. And that's how it's done, folks. You go to a festival and you just start talking to people, and then like opportunities happen. And so, it's like pulling on. So you have so much skill that you can use, not only what you've learned from me, but what you bring to it as a writer, director, theater teacher, all that. So, so now James is like using his project manager skills in a way you would be an amazing line producer too on a film set for sure, like getting everything organized and
that would be
we need to talk about that later.
Yes.
Okay.
That screenplay that I wrote?
Yes. Let's get on that show. Let's get Jessica involved. Yeah. So it's really lovely to see you guys coming together and doing this. And then also, creating opportunities for your fellow screenreaders, which is fabulous. So if someone wants to be a reader for the festival, what should they do?
Well, they should contact me through my email, which we can post up, just jameshall54@gmail.com. And mention the GIF or GIFF, Glendale International Film Festival, someplace in the subject line, so I find it. And we can always use a couple more readers. We're hoping to get another surge of scripts as we come up to one of our deadlines.
Yeah. And when is the deadline again?
Our next deadline is July 12th.
I think you said yes.
So for all you writers out there.
Yeah.
You got to wrap that up soon. Yeah, July 12th.
James Hall at Gmail. Is that right?
James Hall 54.
Oh, 54.
It was my soccer number. Then it was my age, and now I just wish it was that again. Right? So just drop me a note. Tell me a little bit about your experience with the Screenreaders program, where you're at in the program. If you're interested, would love to have you on board. If you have a writing sample, would like to see that too.
Awesome.
Oh,
so
by the way,
let them know.
We brought up Austin earlier, and I know Austin, you can go to the festival and get a pass for that with so many scripts. You read for us at all, you get the festival is over a weekend. You will get a pass to see everything. Oh,
that's lovely. So it is a volunteer position, but do not take these passes lightly, because this is where you make connections as a reader. If you come to the festival, and you're coming to a festival not just as someone like, oh, hey, I'm a reader, and look at me. You could be like, I read maybe the same script that another producer read, or you'll be there as a peer. So it's just such a great way to, like Will did. He met people, and he came in a certain way because he was active in the competition and he did well in the competition. So he already came in with some clout. So you're meeting producers at their level where they're at, which is so much easier than when you're trying to get a job and convince someone this is what you're doing. Yeah. So the producer badge is such a great way to reward readers and to build your program until you can start paying people, for sure.
Yeah. I will say that I had a chance to, again, this is my first involvement last year with any kind of festival like this. And we got the daily pass. I went and watched some of the finished films, which is really fascinating, really great variety of film. But I also got an invitation to the award ceremony. And I'll say, Will was the only person I knew in the room, right? Because these are all different people. But you come in and they say, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I help coordinate the reading program. And they go, and they all have a story about their first script or their first festival.
I love that.
And they were so nice. And as a complete newbie, never once felt like, oh, you don't belong here. You know, they were,
right.
We met some of the people that we actually read their scripts. We met the women who was there. That was really fun.
Actually, the top two.
The top two. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody was welcoming because we're all trying to do neat, creative, fun stuff. And it was terrific. It was a great community at that dinner, and it was very welcoming. I really loved it.
It's so fantastic. And that it really is. It makes it so much fun, right? And then you can build, I mean, I have my friendships that I have. So my very first screenplay, I entered it in a competition. It became a finalist. I came to a conference that was part of it. And then at that conference, learned about being a reader and decided that was my thing. So I literally went on the break, made business cards and came back and was like, I'm a reader. I had no idea what that meant or anything. But someone there said, one of the producers there said, I actually don't need readers right now because I'm going into production tomorrow. Would you be interested in being a PA? And I was like, sure. So I showed up on the set like 2 days later. I'm on the set, and then I met his wife, and she's still to this day one of my very best friends. So it was like, that's how it's done. And by the end of the week, I was the script supervisor on the set. You know, it's like, I didn't know what that was either, but I was just so down, right? And so ready. So it is like that's how you do it, is you just meet people and you find out what they're doing for sure. And like we'll just demonstrate a few minutes. Oh, by the way, we need to talk about that thing. So it is like, that's how it's done, right?
Yeah.
So we have Moises is asking, about the screenplay competition, are you taking submissions from anywhere in the world, or is it only U.S. writers?
I don't know if there's any restrictions.
No, no restrictions anywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then
I mean, it would have to be in English. Because none of us read for, at least that I know of.
That would be a help.
So, and I will say, don't let AI write your script. We can tell.
Yes. There's that too.
We can tell.
So you go to Glendale IFF International Film Festival.org/submit, and you'll see it's through Film Freeway, which is an amazing
Freeway,
yeah.
And you can submit there. Hi, Adam. Nice to see you. Hey, Kamara. Nice to see Adam here. So that's how you would submit. And then just contact James at jameshall54@gmail if you're interested in being a reader. If you're in our programs, definitely let him know. You know, some of you might know him already. Nice to see you, man. So definitely let them know where you are in the program, because that's going to help. And if you are in our programs and you haven't graduated yet, that's okay. Just knowing that you're being trained in that way, I can't stress enough how good it is to read for film festivals. So we're going to be promoting that deadline and helping them get more entries to make more opportunities for everybody. And it's such a pleasure I already know both of you, and it's so much fun. It's been great getting to know you, James and Will. It's just another cool thing that we can add to our list, which is really fun. Do you guys have anything else you want to add to any of it? Anything else?
I think that for me, it was just a matter of jumping in and trying something new. Yeah. Right. I mean, it's a little bit it's an investment of time and money in yourself, and you develop a new skill. Yeah. And who knows what's going to come out of it. I mean, from this, I've gained kind of the confidence, and it takes the mystery out of some of the stuff that you want to then try something new. It's like, oh, I can do that. You know, if James can do it, I can do it. Right. They're just people, right. Yeah,
and it really does. Yeah.
So whether it's finishing your screenplay or writing a story and getting it out there and letting someone else look at it, I think the key, and I'll say that we tell all of the kids at church when they give their first talk, when they're doing public speaking, everybody wants you to succeed, right? Everybody in this program wants you to do well and learn, and you'll get feedback, but not criticism. I hope, right? That's the thing. And so jump in, try something new, get to the end, and share it with somebody. Yeah. And it's a great feeling to get that started. And I've had a great time with
screenplays. I mean, producers want screenplays. They want good screenplays. I mean, everybody's like, oh, it's so jaded, but they don't. They really do want the next big thing. Everybody wants you to succeed, all no matter where you're submitting. It's so true. It's so.
The one thing I will also say, as far as readers, one of the reasons I did this too is because I felt it would be really cool to be at the ground floor of trying to build something with Austin as the model.
I love that.
That these people are really great. That they're building this festival. I wanted to help be a part of that and find a way. because when I do, some of the festivals give you feedback. You can either pay for it or some of them have it. Blue Cat did. So I've gotten a few feedbacks on my screenplay. And when I go see that, I went, that's where I want us to be, to where we start finding a way to now incorporate that so we can share more with them, not just you win, lose, selected, finalist. No, that we now can provide that, because it was so helpful, because trusting a festival to give you quality feedback as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That's part of what you get out of that.
Yeah, so good. And that we can be any part of that is so fantastic. So just so serendipitous. And Will came to me and was like, can you help? And I was like, absolutely. I mean, let's figure out what we can do, how we can make sure the readers that you have are coming from that quality place of really trying to support that writer, being a champion for the writer and supporting producers and finding good scripts. And that you can be a writer-centric festival. It's going to help the festival as a whole, as well as more writers. And I love that you're using Austin, because Austin's one of my favorites in terms of they really are heart-centered in terms of really sincere about wanting to help writers figure it out.
Giving is really important, and that's what I feel like this too. And also I felt it was the right time. Like I fell into this, and I had so it's almost, I believe in that universe. It's like, no, I can help you. So to not do it feels wrong. Like
right.
This is
she's like,
why I was
are you
here.
doing this?
It wasn't to win in the competition or not. It's to now help provide this festival, which is my hometown festival.
Yeah, you live in Glendale. So it's perfect.
So I will be involved with them, as a volunteer from this point forward.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Well, and they're going to be so much better for it, for sure.
As well.
So good. So Maria's asking, how do I submit? So if you look on the screen there, you'll see Glendale. Maybe someone could type that in the chat too. It doesn't show. Oh yeah, it does. Actually, no, because it's Facebook that doesn't show. Let me see if I can put it in there. So there, I put it in the chat as well. So you just Glendale IFF, so Glendale International Film Festival.org/submit, and you can submit your screenplay right there. Do it before the deadline. We'll do it.
And I will say that we have a submission category for features, for shorts, and student films. So we'd love to get some student films. That's a great opportunity for new writers, new screenplay submissions. So all three of those categories are open for writers.
So good. Yeah. So submit those screenplays. And then if you're interested in being a reader, let him know. And so lovely to have you guys here. I'm so excited for you, and I'm so proud of you. And I can't wait to see where it all goes. We'll be supporting you as much as we can along the journey, for sure. So thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.